Hamilton's incredibly popular Khaki Field collection is, to put it lightly, broad, encompassing dozens of variations in size, dial color, and even case materials. But even set among that crowded offering, one of Hamilton's recent 2022 releases, the new 38mm Khaki Field Auto in titanium, distinguishes itself from the rest. In this video, we'll take a closer look at Hamilton's newest Khaki Field model, a watch that carefully balances its heritage field watch inspiration with modern specifications. Let's jump in. As mentioned in that intro, this is a comprehensive collection when looking at the Hamilton Khaki Field. If you want a good jumping off point, we have a great article doing a complete deep dive, comprehensive overview of the collection, its history, looking at some of the different model families and some of those variations within those model families that you should be familiar with so you can make the right buying decision for you. I'll have a link to that in the description down below. Definitely check it out. So starting with some backstory here, Hamilton as a brand is one that should require little in the way of introduction, having been founded way back in 1892 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, before eventually making the move over to Switzerland in the late 1960s. For the past 100 years, Hamilton has been inextricably linked to the world of field watches, providing allied forces with rugged, inexpensive watches for battlefield service, establishing a basic design format that has resonated through the decades, today residing within the Hamilton Khaki Field collection. In the lead up to this model, there have been other forays beyond steel as a case material for the Khaki Field, including the Khaki Field Mechanical in bronze and a 42mm titanium case variant designed in collaboration with Far Cry 6, with both being released last year. This new model is the adaptation of the Far Cry model into a more mass appealing package, available in a 42mm and also a 38mm case format with titanium's lighter wearing experience and corrosion resistant properties, composed of 3 individual variants, all which we have here for review. For the sake of this video, I want to focus mostly on the 38mm options, as I think they're going to be in alignment with what the majority of people would probably go for. Now, starting with a conversation on case and just general wearing experience presented by this new titanium Khaki Field, we have a 38mm diameter, a 46mm lug to lug, and a relatively slender 11.8mm thickness. The case dimensions don't stray away from the beloved hand-winding Khaki Field Mechanical collection, albeit slightly thicker given the automatic caliber utilized here. With those metrics in mind, the size and feel is solid with this one, but the use of titanium as a case material also means that this is impressively lightweight for a watch on the wrist, feeling noticeably different compared to a similarly sized steel Khaki Field, a watch that is not known for its presence to begin with. Some people associate weight with quality when it comes to watches, but I think there is also a lot to be said for the lighter and comfortable wearing experience presented by a well-done titanium case. As is the case with the Hamilton Khaki Field collection, the lugs do account for a good portion of the case length, although in totality the wear on the wrist is only slightly larger than that proposed 38mm diameter, at most probably being around a 38.5mm in actuality. Set between 20mm lugs, a rugged leather strap with a nubuck style outer surface is well done, but will require some break-in. The strap does not taper, terminating with a signed dual pin buckle in matching titanium. Case finishing is, in keeping with the rest of the Khaki Field collection, well executed, but utilitarian and straightforward, with linear brushing utilized across the vertical case flanks, sloping bezel, and gently curved lugs. The PBD coated model shares the architecture, of course differing with the all black appearance that works well with this design format. At 3, a signed push-pull crown pairs with the screwed out exhibition case back and securing this model's impressive 100 meters of water resistance, enough to make this a solid choice for summer activities when paired with a NATO strap, for example. Now, taking up view of the watch's front-facing surface, we have a sapphire crystal presenting a very slightly domed profile and complete with anti-reflective coating to stop some reflections. Not going to be the best in that area, but still does the job in some instances. Presented in 3 distinct variations, including black, a gray-green Hamilton calls khaki, and a textured cement gray color, this new model pairs with Hamilton's classic field watch format with a few touches that help elevate the overall package. Starting at the dial's periphery, we have a printed minute track coordinated in color to match each dial, with finer graduations between the linear and Arabic minute markings, and tiny circular indices at the 5-minute positions. just within the pairing of 12 and 24-hour markings required by any field watch, with the 12-hour scale thickly printed with color-coordinated luminescent material. The lume isn't great with any of these three, but it is effective enough in keeping with other watches of this style in this price point. On the khaki and black dial variants, the central surface is separated in a multi-dimensional fashion, with the hour markings lying on a ring that is ever so slightly recessed from the primary surface. The gray dial is done in a completely different array here, with a concrete gray color with some rugged texture that works well with its PVD case, while presenting more of an avant-garde option in the collection, emulating almost a meteorite style dial. Stylized syringe hands manage time-telling duties with the brand wordmark khaki and automatic to break up the dial. There's no date to speak of with these, a feature or lack thereof that I appreciate in a field watch. And overall, this is a highly legible and attractive package that still feels very much Hamilton Khaki Field at the end of the day, making room for a more intriguing and different execution, and I think pairs well with the use of titanium as a case material. Now, beneath the glass on the opposite end is a screw-down case back. We have the Hamilton H10 Caliber supplied from another Swatch Group-based brand with ETA. Now, this movement is technically known as the ETA C07.611, utilized within this khaki, and has base architecture from the ETA 2824 with a frequency that has been slowed down from the traditional 28,800 vibrations per hour or 4 Hertz to a slower 21,600 vibrations per hour or 3 Hertz, allowing for a longer power reserve from the mainspring. While it is in view, a nice feature for some, the H10 doesn't offer much in the way of finishing, with simple matte finishes and some beveling on select bridges to offset the signed Hamilton rotor. Despite not being much to look at, this is an excellent caliber that has already been proven in hundreds of thousands of Swatch Group watches, and in this case also includes a Nivicon hairspring that should alleviate some of the influence of magnetic fields on timekeeping. Speaking anecdotally to timekeeping presented by these 3 samples, we tested all of them at 5 different positions. First with the black dial, -2 to +4 seconds a day, the khaki dial, +3 to +8 seconds a day, and the concrete dial at +5 to +8 seconds a day. And Hamilton watches typically do run very well. I would actually say these are a little bit off than the norm that I've come across. So perfectly fine timekeeping, maybe not the tightest that I've seen from a Hamilton lot. There's some of these that really run well, but these are certainly in alignment with what somebody could expect for these movements. All right, so now to unpack looking at these new Hamilton Khaki Field titaniums. So I think you probably already know what my take is on Hamilton and what it brings forth with its military field watches. I think they are probably around $500 definitive watches, even under $1,000. They're the best field watches you're going to find, I would say, if you want to combine history with build quality and a solid movement on the inside. They're really just tough to beat. Now, just to speak to these models, just a couple maybe cons and pros here that I think are working in a direction. Strap offerings, I think, are somewhat lagging behind. These aren't the best straps I've handled from a Hamilton, but probably not the biggest point here. Lume, as always, is not going to be exceptional compared to some other offerings out there. I found that these field watches from Hamilton typically aren't the best in that regard. And of course, you are seeing a price increase with these. So these are starting at just south of $900 for a retail price. Now, with that considered, what are some other titanium field watches that you're going to find? The closest that you're going to come up with is going to be Formex with their titanium field watch, which certainly is a cool finish. Different approach though, not going to be as much of this military background, also going to have the pedigree of a Hamilton, and also this is going to be cheaper with an 80-hour power reserve movement on the inside. I think the big thing here is this going to be worth it for more people to jump into a titanium case? On the wrist, for a lot of those mechanical options from Hamilton and even the automatic options, those watches aren't necessarily heavy watches to wear, so the upside of titanium might not be as felt here as in other instances throughout the industry. But if you are looking for a titanium watch, which I think does look very cool, the hue of titanium, it's more muted and subdued type of tone to the metal itself, allows this to pair so beautifully with the field watch design. And then from there, you have the other traditional types of approaches that you would like and attributes that you'd like from Hamilton Khaki Field. Power reserve, 80 hours, reliable movement on the inside, dial finishing, I think is solid. You have some different dial colors to choose from. I think that meteorite dial is where this could be different and unique. So that is really out there compared to what you're going to find from other Hamilton Khaki Fields. And then also another great thing about this titanium version is I'm glad they did this, 100 meters of water resistance. One of the big challenges with those mechanical options just south of $500 is going to be the water resistance of only 50 meters. I think people like to see 100 meters. To get into that, you have to go into the automatic version. So with this increased price, you also are getting some additional versatility in that department. So ultimately, what are these Hamilton Khaki Fields? Probably the most no-brainer titanium field watches under $1,000. Now that probably is a specific niche, but still one that I think some people are longing for. There's simply not that many options when it comes to this style of watch and doing it well, also with this case material. And this is going to be probably leading the pack along with a few others in the category, but you can't beat Hamilton when it comes to their history in field watches. So probably going to get the nod for being the best titanium field watch that you can find for the dollar amount. All right, guys, that's my take on these Hamilton Khaki Field titanium models. What are your take on these watches? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Also, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Really would appreciate that. Also, if you like what you saw from these models here today, or you want to see more from the Hamilton Khaki Field collection, I definitely recommend checking out that article in the description. It's a great guide. And also, we are a full authorized dealer of Hamilton watches. So if you like this style and design, you want to look what Hamilton has to offer, we have pretty much every Hamilton Khaki Field that you can think of on our site, and also have corresponding videos pretty much reviewing all of those models as well. So would definitely recommend checking that out. But all right, guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I'll see you all very soon.